Wait a minute. They make baby magic bullets
Yeah, special
for babies?
Yeah, special little
I did
kits.
not know that.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
the babies don't use it.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that seems really dangerous.
Hello, welcome to our channel. I'm JJ, and I am a life coach here with my husband,
Eric, and I'm a novelist.
who is also sick.
We came back from our cruise. How many days ago was that? And I had a sore throat on the very last night of the cruise, and I'm like, I'm just dry throat or something, and it progressed to a full-fledged cold.
Head cold.
I have not been sick since 2019, probably, maybe even before then, because once the pandemic came, I never got sick.
Well,
It was the best thing for my health that ever happened.
you didn't leave the house. You left the house even less than you normally leave the house.
Right. I don't know. It's just also the common cold collapsed when nobody went anywhere. So, but yeah, it's my first actual sickness of any note for so long. I'm not used to it, and I'm already really bad at it.
Oh, yeah, he is.
She can be sick and just go ahead and do things. It's like, never mind. It's a giant wound in my arm, pulsing out blood. I'll go to the grocery store. I get the slightest cold, and I'm down for the count. I'm just useless.
But you've turned the corner, I think.
Today I have turned the corner. I am feeling a little bit better, not as achy, and a little more energy.
Yeah.
Little more energy. But I have not maintained my carnivore commitment during this.
Do tell.
I have my desire for meat in particular when I have a cold is apparently zero, less than zero. It's like I don't want it.
Interestingly, though, when we were leaving the cruise, you were like, oh, I cannot wait to get back and just be cooking my own steaks the way I want them.
It's true. It's what I did want, and it's not what's happening because I had at lunch yesterday, I did have some Maui Nui venison jerky sticks.
That's been a staple this week.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I eat for lunch, along with a sleeve of Ritz crackers. I needed something salty and easy to eat. And the thing was, I could barely taste anything. Mm-hmm. So I guess, but I was just there. Now, would I have been better off had I had just maybe not eaten or gone ahead and just tried to eat a little bit of meat and not had the carbs? I don't know, maybe, probably. It's not what I did.
Now, I will say, understanding that he was not feeling well, he might want some comfort food. I had recently seen Nisha's video where she made Maria Emmerich's, so many names, Maria Emmerich's carnivore lasagna. And they loved it. And they're like, why have we not made this in all these years? So I went ahead and did make, a few days ago, the carnivore lasagna. You were able to get that down.
That was carnivore?
That was carnivore.
I thought that was some sort of vaguely keto.
Well, technically,
What is the noodle thing in it?
You shouldn't probably hear this. I didn't tell him because then he'd be looking for weirdness, right? But you use like a thin sliced chicken lunch meat for the noodles.
Really? That's what the noodle is?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, you said you could actually taste it or smell it at least yesterday.
I could smell it. Well, there's cheese on it, and there is a tomato sauce.
Yes,
which
that
is
is
definitely
true.
not carnivore.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe it's not. I think she might have one that is a cream base that's actually carnivore. You're right. This one's probably not carnivore
keto.
Because it has the tomato. Yeah.
And we know that nightshades, you might as just, kill yourself. No, that's just a joke. Go ahead and eat the nightshades. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. So we did have that comfort food the last 2 days, but now it's gone.
No, there's 2 pieces left.
It's my lunch.
It's her lunch.
Maybe.
She made it. Cook's privilege.
Well, you don't eat leftovers unless I force them on you.
Well, except for lasagna, where the leftovers are better than when it's fresh.
Oh, well, you can have it. I have a steak.
No, I may have something else today. That's also not carnivore.
Now, did you notice, I mean, you feel sick anyway, but did you notice any bad effects from the crackers?
No, and this is irritating to me. Mm-hmm. The crackers are fine. I think maybe it's because they're so insubstantial. I mean, a Ritz cracker is probably 95% air. So there's very little content to it. So you got to eat a whole sleeve. I mean, that's one serving. But when we were on the cruise and we were staying very good, we were having salad but a lot of meats and stuff. And I had mentioned that I was having some GI issues eating what was pretty clean by any reasonable standard. And some people had mentioned that the salads might have been sprayed with something, or the meats had been cooked in seed oils. We might even have talked about that.
We did talk about the possibility of seed oils.
And so I get back, I'm sick, and I immediately abandon Carnivore because I'm a baby, and I don't have any gut consequences from eating the Ritz crackers. And I did have a couple of Kind bars, which are kind of nut-based things, but all I'm after really is some sort of a child sense memory of being sick as a little kid and being given tasty, salty comfort things.
Well, I think most of us, I shouldn't say all of us, but most of us have that history of what do you eat when you're sick? What does your family give you? And we naturally gravitate toward that, generally speaking, when we're ill. Yeah.
So it's not going to be hard for me to not eat a sleeve of Ritz crackers, especially when we don't have any left.
Well, let me also explain why we have them, because I know
that's a fair question.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, why do you have this in your house? And the answer is we have a 20-year-old daughter. She's off at school right now, but she is certainly far, far, far from carnivore.
Yeah, what's the opposite? She's a carbivore.
Yes. Yes, she is.
And I get it because I was a carbivore for most of my life.
Yeah.
So, getting her to eat any protein is a victory.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's interesting is when she was a child, when she was a baby, I nursed her. And I made her, this was before they had the little baby magic bullets and everything. I made her baby food. I really wanted her to
Wait a minute. They make baby magic bullets
for
babies?
Yeah, special little
kits.
I did
not know that.
Yeah. I mean, the babies don't use it.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that seems really dangerous.
But I did all that way back 20 years ago, trying to give her a good start. And
that's the title of this video, Magic Bullet for Babies.
Well, let's just say that it went awry once she hit that toddler age where she was rejecting everything. And we were also, I worked in the evenings at my dance studio, and so we didn't have family meals. And I was just relieved at that time that she wasn't eating high fat. I know she's not eating the best diet, but at least it's not high fat.
I'm exceptionally child averse.
Yes.
I think that has to do with being the youngest in my family, so I was never around any small children ever. And so I didn't grow up knowing how to relate to them at all. So when I had my own, I loved her, but I had no experience with how to interact with an infant.
Yeah. You did a good job overall.
I did okay, yeah. When she got old enough to be physically violent towards me was when it really got fun. Her thing was to jump on my head and put a pillow over my face and say, "Can you still breathe?"
That was the game for quite a while.
And then if I said yes, she would press harder or sit on the pillow. It makes me concerned about when I'm in hospice. She comes to visit. That was really dark.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that reminds me of something more serious. Nick Norowitz, who we talked about with the Oreo versus statin study in a previous video, which you should watch. Maybe I'll have the wherewithal to put up a thingamabob. He just did a video about a case study of where keto was used with a 60-some-odd-year-old dairy farmer who had developed ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And it was a particular particular form of ALS that's known to have a very, very short life expectancy. They all do, but this was particularly bad. Now, for a little context, my mother died of ALS in 2014, and it was a pretty long, slow decline.
Yeah, it was a couple of years. Yeah.
And it took a while actually for them to identify what was actually happening to her, because the progression was kind of slow. But it's horrible. Well, this particular case, they used a ketogenic diet, and on a number of the markers that they expected decline, this individual had slight improvements. Now, they're not saying ketogenic was going to be a cure or necessarily extend his life to be a normal full length, but the rate of decline was seriously decreased. And to show any improvement with ALS is just unheard of.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of theories about why that might be. It might be the ketones themselves, or who knows. But I just think it's just another example of how the diet we were taught was not the diet that's actually meant for humans.
No, not at all. I've thought of this since we've been doing this. I've thought of your mother several times because I just remember the different diet phases your parents went through.
Yeah.
And usually it was very Pritikin, Ornish based.
Low salt, high veg, low fat, very low fat, calorie counting.
Yes. Restriction.
Yeah. And the thing is my dad every month got the Harvard Health heart newsletter because he was like, well, I want to get the best, latest information on heart health, because he'd had a stent when he was like 60 or something like that. And so he was, rightly concerned about his heart health. And of course, we know that the Harvard track record was all about low fat and getting that LDL down as far as you could. And we're now starting to see that it wasn't the whole story, and the recommendations for what to do about it were definitely wrong.
Yet I remember this very small window of time where they tried Atkins. And the thing that I remember very clearly is that your mom lost weight and she felt great. She was thriving on that diet.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was way before she got sick. I mean, this was a long time before that. But,
yeah, that's true.
But I always remember that. She really thrived on it.
The issue there was because Atkins was about carb restriction. I mean, that's what keto is carb restriction. But the mental framework was don't have carbs. And when you love ice cream as much as my mom loves ice cream, it was then like, how do I then be able to dose in the occasional? I mean, I still do that.
Yeah.
Same thing. How do I dose in the thing that I really, really want? And if you have any proclivity for a sugar addiction, it will take you back to your old patterns.
It'll take you down.
Yeah, and that's what happened with them
Yeah.
every single time and it was usually probably some social event where there was ice cream, and they're like, oh, well, it's okay for this one time. And then it becomes like, well, this day is lost, so let's have it again. Well, it's the weekend. I'll start on Monday. I mean, in the comments, if you've ever had that conversation in your head or with your significant other, let us know, because we have definitely had that conversation. Oh, well, this day's blown. We might as well just finish it off strong. And then it's like, well, it's Saturday. Well, tomorrow's Sunday. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's just...
Well, the first of the month is next Wednesday.
That's right. We should just wait.
Just
Actually, you know what? It's the holiday season. Let's just wait till January. And the holiday season's Easter. Oh, I can't believe I'm laughing.
I told you you're turning the corner.
I am. Hopefully, I haven't given it to you.
I think I'd have it by now. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, maybe
Fingers crossed.
maybe your immune system is appropriately calibrated based upon your clean eating, your carnivore diet, and you're just going to be able to fight this bug off.
Maybe. I'm the one who usually brings home the cold. You don't usually get them.
Well, that's because she works with kids a lot.
I work with kids a lot in our youth theater
And
group.
they're just vectors of disease.
Yeah. So if there were any wood to knock on, I would knock on it right now. Melamine, is that
I don't think that counts.
okay.
But I also don't think it works anyway. What else has been going on in the keto world?
I will just mention, I'd like to talk about this in another video at some point, but over our trip, I bought Dr. Ead's book. Oh, geez. Change your diet, change your mind. That was good. So I'm not quite through the entire thing, but I got through a lot of it on the cruise, and just there's a lot of science in the book.
Do you mean science?
No, I do not mean science. Science in the book. So if you aren't prone to reading those types of science-y books, you might not like it. However, what I love is she almost always gives you bullet points at the end of a section or at the end of a chapter that really brings it all together. And it is just, some of the information she gives in there seems like it's so basic, yet it's mind-blowing. Again, how we've gone down this strange path for the past few decades.
So the change your mind part is about mental health?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, she
so that
is
ties
a psychiatrist.
in with Dr. Palmer's brain energy thing. And we talked about that in our video about health anxiety and my journey from SSRIs to Carnivore, which I will put up somewhere here. I don't know. Everybody on YouTube always points to where they're going to put it, and then it never ends up there. So I'm just going to point to all the different spots on the screen, and one of these is going to be it.
But yeah, it's a phenomenal book. And I also she did a lot of interviews. I really enjoyed her interview with Dr. Chafee especially, and have shared that with one of my friends who struggles with some mental health issues and seizures.
I haven't watched that yet.
And so I'm putting that out there. If you don't want to read the book, that is an excellent interview. Yeah. And an excellent entry point for people. That's why I shared it. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Has she been on Dr. Barry's podcast?
I believe she has, yeah.
They all make the rounds when they have a new book out. So
yeah.
I like to read the book and watch the things. But I haven't read this book yet. It's next on my list. But I'm reading a really, really long biography of Queen Elizabeth I right now. So that's taking a while. It has nothing to do with Carnivore. But she had a sweet tooth.
Yes.
In a time before really good dentistry or anything like that. So
I'm reading, I like historical fiction, so I'm reading actually the same author of his book, which is not historical fiction. That is actual.
This is an actual biography.
I'm reading the same author's historical fiction book about Elizabeth, and we are to the part where she's getting her teeth taken out and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross. Today is February 16th, 2024, and we have hit a huge milestone with our YouTube channel.
We have. Thank you.
We have over 50 subscribers. And you could be one of the ones that gets us to the big 6-0.
Oh. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, because the way we started this channel was, let's just record us talking to the camera and then upload it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've done. I've done a couple where I've edited it a little bit more to add some pop-ups on the screen. But I had a previous YouTube channel where I would spend an entire work week editing the video and put it up and get 5-6 views. So I wasn't willing to do that this time around. But it's been really great.
And I've done countless life coaching videos where I did not edit because I knew that was not going to work for me.
Yeah.
But yet, they've done.
By the way, we got a comment I deleted about your life coaching.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The opinion was that you were an uncertified quack who was giving people advice you had no business giving.
I am so glad you deleted that. Although, well, maybe I want it deleted, but I might have liked to read it. So the truth is that I went through, see, now I got to get up. I trained under one of the first life coaches in the world, Rhonda Britton. She was one of the first ones to have a life coaching certification. And my training was nearly 3 years long.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, near the end, he's like, because we had a certain amount of time to complete our academic report. And at the end, he's like, our daughter's like 3 years old. He's like, just go to the coffee shop and get it done. Just leave the house and get it done.
This was selfish. It wasn't really for her benefit. I was saying that so I didn't have to be around her whole energy.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot.
So yeah, it's the Fearless Living Institute. So I was certified in March of 2008. So I've got an anniversary coming up here. So I went through extensive education with a pioneering life coach and Rhonda Britton, and then have gone on to coach through this entire time and gain master certification. I'm also a master trainer, and now I help write the books for the life coaches. I still work, I have had my own business and also work with Fearless Living quite extensively to train other coaches.
Yeah, a lot of people will hear life coach and they just think it's somebody who just put up a website and call themselves a life coach. But there's a strong distinction between a life coach and a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist, and you don't claim to be any of those things.
Oh no, not at all. That's lesson number 1 actually, and
you are not a therapist.
In my program is lesson number 1.
What does it? I mean, we're not really pitching your services. No. You're not taking clients.
I have not been taking any private clients.
So we're not trying to sell you on her life coaching, but. If someone wants a life coach, how are they going to get the best benefit from it? What is a life coach going to be able to help them do?
A life coach really helps you move forward from where you are right now. So therapy dives into the past, and we do touch on the past a little bit in coaching. It naturally comes up. But what I am going to help you do is to overcome again, I'm not pitching me, but what I was trained to do is to help you overcome all the things that get you stuck. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of success. All those little habits we have of procrastinating, of having self-doubt, that voice in our head that tells us we can't do something. So I really help people master those things that stop us, and move forward in a way that's customized. A lot of coaching programs, they have one tool, one system. And the thing about my training is that we are looking at where you are at, what your capacity is, and how can we move you forward right now in the best way for you. So it's an extremely customized approach based on your strengths, your individual strengths, and where that fear, those negative voices are holding you back.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools in it.
Tons of tools.
I have been near her coaching. She doesn't coach me that I know of.
No, that's off the table right
That's
off.
like that episode of Big Bang Theory when Sheldon gave Penny a chocolate every time she did something he liked. I like that one.
No.
But one of the tools that you use, like one of the basic tools, directly applies to carnivore.
That's true. I think I know which one you're going to say. Is it stretch, risk, die?
It is stretch, risk,
die.
Oh,
my goodness.
Can you explain it?
So let me just say there have been other mutations of this tool, but Rhonda came out with this back in like 2000. So this has been around. So basically we all have a comfort zone. And our comfort zone is our status quo right now. It's whatever you're eating right now. So before carnivore, my status quo at that point was that I was doing intermittent fasting and eating a lot of healthy whole foods, vegetables, lots of nuts, sort of a paleo approach, more primal cheese. So that was my comfort zone, my status quo. And the next layer around that, you think of it as a bullseye. So the next bullseye ring is the stretch zone. So these are things that you know you can do, but you just haven't done them yet. So maybe for me, it was cutting out the nuts. It's not that hard, but I've put it off. I haven't done it, whatever. So that's the stretch zone. The risk zone is the next layer out, and that is where you actually are risking failure. This is something that takes more courage, more will to accomplish in that risk zone. And so it's farther from that comfort zone. So maybe that is actually moving to a meat diet. Moving to a meat diet for me was definitely in the risk zone, a meat-based diet. It really takes a little effort, and I could fail. And then that final layer is the die zone, where you would just rather die than do that. And for me, honestly, it's probably beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I've never done that myself. I know you did. It's like, I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there at this point. So you actually build your strategies around stretches, risks, and dies, and focus primarily on the stretch zone, the things that are right there. And what happens is you also acknowledge your stretches. That was hard for you.
Acknowledging a stretch.
Yeah, because you should already be doing it.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't even think of it as a stretch.
You shouldn't think of it as a stretch, and it is where the most
Yeah.
negative self-talk lives, is in that stretch zone. So you don't even want to don't give yourself credit for that. You should have been doing it anyway, but you do. That's the key to building this momentum and motivation, is giving yourself credit for every single move outside your stretch zone. And not only that, what happens eventually is that your stretch zone becomes part of your comfort zone. So all of the layers of the stretch, risk, die sort of chunk in more. So now for me, triple B and E still don't have a real desire to do it, but it's only in the risk zone for me. It's not a die anymore. And so that's how we are able to move forward and progress and do it with some ease and some grace and build our motivation and our momentum.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing distinction, and it fits with actually it fits with exercise, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
I mean,
yes.
I mean, one, your attitude towards exercise, but exercise itself works the same way. Is that if you're going to increase your strength, you have to lift weights that are hard, right? That would be like the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But only occasionally would you do your maximum weight,
Right.
where you're trying to test your actual personal record. That would be the die zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is sort of like a mental version of exercise to get your mind and emotions capable of handling those harder
Yes.
ways of living your life.
Yes.
So for me, I wouldn't call it a die, but it was a very far out on the risk thing, was giving up coffee,
Oh yeah.
which I did for 1 month. And I'm completely back to having it now. But I was doing it because I was trying to see its effect on my triglycerides. So I think that there's got to be another piece to it, which is you have to have a reason. Like, why would you stretch? Why would you
Correct.
to take a risk? And if you're watching this, it's probably already pretty obvious to you. It has something to do with your health.
Yeah, yeah. And the coffee thing made me think of this. We also want to support ourselves in whatever decision we make. So if we are taking a big risk, you want to be more gentle with yourself. You want to prepare yourself with the alternate drink you're going to have. There's more preparation the farther you get from your comfort zone, and more support you might need from even other people.
The stretch risk diet applies to almost every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about it, but I would imagine in dating, that would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Finance,
Yes.
there's a lot there where you have to, where it's not about the stretch is probably like doing without certain purchases.
Mm-hmm.
The die might be selling off something of extreme value to you that you don't want to part with, but that you really just need to do it to get rid of some debt. Just as other examples of ways to think about it and generalize the concept. I'm sure we'll talk about stretch risk die again.
It comes up.
On this channel.
I don't think I've ever worked with a client or taught a class or done a presentation without some form of stretch risk diet. It really is one of my favorites. And it, for me, who was a perfectionist, and you still have to tell me sometimes that I can do B work.
Yeah, she's always doing A+
Because
work.
I get the blind spot. And for me, learning this incremental way of doing things was life-changing. Yeah.
We made it.
We did it.
I think I've run out of mental energy for this. So I think we're going to call it quits. If you have used carnivore or keto to get over a cold, don't tell me because it's too late. I've already turned the corner. I did once when I had a bad cough. I was on Facebook or something. I was begging like what can I do? And the recommendation I got was a hot toddy. I don't drink, so that was out of the question. But I've craved chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
We don't have any.
No, I don't think we even have any bone broth available.
How is it possible we don't have bone broth?
Yeah, well.
We're bad carnivores. All right. Well, leave a like. That's easy to do because all you have to do is find this button and click it.
Wherever it is.
Yeah. Subscribe. That's real easy too because there's also a button specifically for that.
And everyone says, remember, it costs you nothing. So I'll say that, but I think you probably know that.
Yeah. You've already left this video. So we're just talking to ourselves right now because we can see the statistics of like who stays to watch the ending. And it's only if you're doing something else and this is on in the background that you're listening to this. You're probably laughing right now because you're like, oh, I got to find a new video to watch, but they keep talking. So you know what to do. Do all the liking and the subscribing. We will be back here on Tuesday.
Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.